some more things that are happening that we want to push out an initiative. But before we start this, all in all, I want to say thank you to all the veterans who served and who took the oath to give their service in their time. And I think Gerald will agree with me, service is above all else the most greatest reward that we can give our humanity. And I think so many people look at the service of I'm unable to serve or I'm unable to do, but we're all able to do. It's whether we choose to do. And that's so different. And I hope people realize that they can do. So again, thank you to all your veterans. Families are very important to me. Families who help the service members serve, those are all key important pieces, because if it wasn't for family members loving them and helping them serve, it's very tough for a service member to do the job they wanted to do or love to do or passion to do. So without further ado, Gerald Moore, thank you for coming back on Bridges Live. I really want to have you back on and keep you having back on because we need to get a couple of things funded. Let's just get it flat and simple. But even if people haven't heard it before on Mission Fulfilled 2030, let's go over that and let's get people up to date about what that is.
First and foremost, Dr. Dyer, I appreciate you having me on your platform and get a chance to talk about just awesome stuff and what's going on in our world. But first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to those servicemen, past, present, and future. A lot of people don't understand that the civil liberties that we partake in to date, wouldn't exist without those people. So a special shout out to them. They don't get enough praise, and we definitely have to serve. Mission Fulfilled 2030. Opportunity to serve, Doc.
Right.
Mission Fulfilled 2030 is a nonprofit organization whose vision is to impact 100,000 black boys in the field of technology and STEM. And how we do this is we create opportunities for our boys to participate that are led by black men.
Now, I don't want to appear ignorant, but I'm going to allow people to not know what STEM is. I am going to say, and I know people are going, thanks Dr. Paul for answering that, because I don't know what STEM is. STEM of a flower, STEM of a plant. What the hell are you talking about? What is STEM? So let's talk about...
When we talk about STEM, we're talking about science, technology, engineering, and math.
Right.
And our science, technology, engineering, and math. So we're talking about our doctors are actually STEM professionals. Our scientists are STEM professionals. Our engineers, of course, we know what they are. Our mathematicians are a part of STEM. Our people who participate in technology, whether it's information technology, cybersecurity, which I'm a cybersecurity engineer. All of these different technical disciplines make up our STEM professionals, which black males make up less than 5% of our high-tech and STEM professionals. And that's why we exist for Mission Fulfilled 2030 to impact that number and increase that number by going back and raising up black boys in these fields.
Now, I always feel like we have to defend ourselves about the things we say when it comes to black boys, black men, black community, and almost say, really? You're that low on the scale? Come on. I mean, it's not like you guys it's not like you black people just came out of the Stone Age. So what is the problem with you guys getting into technology? So answer that question, because you're in it. Yeah, so answer that.
So the systems that are in place that keep us out of it, first of all. So if we look at what's the process of becoming an engineer? I have a degree in electronics engineering technology from Norfolk State University. So what's the process of becoming an engineer? First of all, you'll probably need to be a top math student. So it is stated.
Okay.
You'll probably need to be a top math and science, right? Once you get to high school, you'll probably need to take pre-calculus at some point, AP physics, AP chemistry, and all of these really tough classes. So you've already put it in the this is hard category, right? So once it's in the this is hard category, many of us are going to shy away from it. Secondly, we don't have any engineers or computer scientists in our public schools. We don't have any.
We don't even have, a lot of public schools don't even have a program.
Don't even have a technology program. So we're not getting the interest there. Then black males make up 1% of the public school workforce, right? So we don't see any engineers, and I'm complicit in this, right?
Yeah.
So as an engineer working for my company, I'm invisible. I'm invisible. Nobody sees me. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows I exist. So we know that representation matters. So where there is no representation,
there's nothing.
There's not a lot of young boys out there like, I want to be like Coach Moore.
Right.
So I took myself as an engineer, and pretty much how the program is built, I took me as an engineer and showcased myself as an engineer as a coach in basketball. So coaching players in basketball, I was like, okay, I'm a basketball coach here, but I'm an engineer. So after practice, we're going to work on app development and creating you guys into engineers. So I think those systems that are put in place, no representation, no teachers, no real curriculum, and then placing it in a perspective where I couldn't possibly do that, it's too hard.
So now, you have these avenues and these tight spaces where black children is very difficult to slide into unless someone recognizes them.
Right.
And it is very difficult to be recognized for good works as a black child in school. Now, I know some amazing teachers, and I know some amazing white teachers, whatever. But collectively, black children don't get recognized unless they're doing something wrong. It's just what it is.
Absolutely. We get suspended more than any other race.
Yep.
Right? At the earlier ages. I think, don't quote me on this, but in kindergarten, black boys get suspended twice as much as anybody else. Like, the number is extremely high. Even though we only make up a small percentage of the students, we get suspended at a much higher rate than anyone else. So I think that starts early, and then it continues, on. And I think, young, I'll bring up, there's a book by Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu. Again, The Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys.
And I read that book.
Right, and his third grade theory is right on point.
Right on point.
Because black boys up until third grade test as high as any other race. We test as high as any other race intellectually until third grade. When we begin to really understand what's going on, and we get treated differently from that point on, and I think we instinctively pick up that we're being treated unfairly, and then we act that out.
Now, I talk about that all the time to teachers, and I've mentioned this on several of my shows. It is about the energy you're putting out, not that you would like to put out. And that goes with all children. When we say children are autistic, and children are on the spectrum, and children are difficult, and children got ADD, ODD, and whatever, anything you want to put to those labels, what we're doing is not seeing them. Right. Once you put a label on someone, and I don't care who this is, what it is, where it is, or why. Once you put a label on something, you stop seeing them.
Absolutely. And for most people, and this is people in general.
Yes.
They will feed you back the energy you give them.
Yeah.
So if you're giving them negative energy, it takes a really phenomenal person to take negative energy and still give you positive.
And
it's
I
you
think,
know, and
and I
our teachers, I think, so this is what we have wrong. Like, if you're a doctor, being a doctor is kind of almost a gift. Like, it's your work, right? Being a teacher is one of those things that if it's not your gift, you should probably do something else, right? Because you're impacting so many
so
people.
much.
And if like being a teacher can't just be your job because of the power and influence you have. And of course, I believe teachers should get paid more. I believe teachers should be on the high end of the scale because of the impact that you have on the future.
I agree. Like it's without question. I agree, right? But this is what bothers me. The reason why they're not has to be purposeful. It cannot be we don't have enough money. It cannot be we never thought of it. We can there's not an excuse, reason, or anything you can come up with in your head is why a teacher is not paid on a high level of anything, any professional out there. And the only reason
they don't actually want them to perform at a high level, right? So if you think back in history, why were schools created, right? To create employees.
Yes, that was it.
Right. So I think we're still in that mold where our teachers are generating employees, and the value of that is not very high. Whereas, you know, in the college and as a professor,
mm-hmm.
you know, the salaries are much higher, right? The salaries are much higher because now we're working on a different person. We're working on management. We're not working on those low-end workers. So I think, you know, our systems are in place where, you know, we're working for the low-end worker, the middle-class worker, and then the college worker, right? And then the PhD worker, right? So with that scale, so whoever's teaching the highest level, they have more value. But I would think molding the minds of these young people has a much higher value.
Well, think about this. If I don't know, the product you're getting in college has to start from the product from the beginning. Now, I don't know a professor in the world that says, man, if it wasn't for me, you would be worthless. I've never heard a professor say that. Now, I've heard high school teachers say that, and I have, you know, you've been a coach. You taught football. And I'll mention his name, Mark Katz. And people who hear the show, Tigers Forever, Spring Valley Tigers, whoop. Mark Katz was my football coach, and in high school. And I, to this day, just recently sent him a message, and I'll do this on air, of how if it wasn't for him caring and loving the way he did us as a collective group of individuals, black, white, Puerto Rican, Jewish, all of it. He loved us so much. He used to bring us over to his house, feed us, talk to us, laugh with us. And this man gave me so much of this is what human being is like. More than most of my teachers I've ever met through all. There's been some good ones, trust me. I'm not going to say all my teachers were bad, but my coach, Mark Katz, was amazing. And I just wanted to say thank you because you did the same thing for some of your boys you coached.
And I think, and the reason I've done that is because of the coaches that I've had. I wrote about it in my book, Motivate Black Boys. If it weren't for my coaches, I wouldn't be the man who I was today.
Yeah.
Like, and even like the men in my life, like my father, even my father and my uncles, they're all flawed men. Like, they're very flawed men. Like, you know, a high percentage of my uncles struggled with alcoholism and drug abuse. But I learned so much from them, even in their flaws. Now, it has taken, you know, people say, well, Gerald, you just different, man. You know, I don't know how you don't drink and all of that stuff. But I learned this from watching these men almost throw their lives away, and some of them have thrown their lives away, but I learned from them. But my coaches, poured into us so much about discipline, about, you know, the man beside you is your brother.
Right.
We win as a team.
Right.
We win as a collective, and it's all of us. And you know, those seeds they planted. That's kind of what I live by today. Like if anybody who knows me, they'll tell you Gerald's a team person. Gerald's a team person. I'm gonna sacrifice of myself to lift somebody else up because, you know, I'm confident I can do what I can do. But I'm gonna lift somebody else up to give them the opportunity before I take all the opportunity and the accolades for myself. And I learned that from my coaches. I've had some good teachers along the way. I've had some teachers. I graduated high school with a D average. I had a 1.69 GPA. And when I went back into education, I actually pulled my record so I could show my students that, yo, I'm just like y'all. Like, listen, like I'm not some kid who grew up in the suburbs with a silver spoon. Like, I was just like y'all, and I made the decision to make this transition for myself. So you guys can do it. But I've had some good teachers who said to me, Gerald, stop playing with your education. Because I could go in at any moment and get an A on anybody's test after not doing any homework, after skipping class, and I could go in and get an A on their homework. One of my teachers asked me one day, he was like, Gerald, you've missed all the assignments, and you did none of the homework, but yet you scored the highest on this chapter test. So I didn't see you cheat, but I want to say you cheated. I remember telling my social studies teacher this, and he hated me. I said, that's what you get from the smartest person in the class.
Let me ask you a question, and I want to impact this before we get to. And I want to thank all the listeners and sponsors and people who support Bridges Live and support Gerald Moore, who support Dr. Paul, but more importantly, support services, service to community, service to life, service to humanity. And if anything you get from Veterans Day or any day. And today, I'm kind of sad. I have to admit that on air that I've been very somber today because Veterans Day bothers me. Mother's Day bothers me. Father's Day bothers me. All these significant days bother me because why do we have to have something that highlights something we should just be doing when we feel like doing it in a passionate way? No one should have to remind you to see, hey, love your wife today because it's Valentine's Day. It just drives me literally insane to say, you know what, I'm going to think of veteran today. Really? Today? Really? What about, no? Okay, whatever. And so it kind of bothers me, but I want to impact something you said about when your friends would say, Gerald, you're just on a different level. You're just a different cat. That's a problem for us as humans, and especially as black men. We have a problem with that saying being okay, because it's not okay.
Right.
How do we fix it? What are you thinking?
Well, self-discipline.
Okay.
Right? Most of us lack self-discipline.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, most of us lack self-discipline, and people will tell me, well, Gerald, you're a pretty disciplined person, but to me, I lack self-discipline because I don't accomplish everything that I'm trying to accomplish because I might want to go watch some TV with my wife. I may want to go work and do something with the kids that impacts something I really want to do. So I actually get on me by, Gerald, you need to be more disciplined and get that done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But most of us don't have any self-discipline to achieve even the most basic things we want to achieve because we won't do the work, right? And I think, you know, for men, and you know these men.
Yeah.
We go to work, right? And then on the weekend, we think we deserve off, right? We think the weekend is vacation.
Like, I'm done.
Right? The weekend is vacation. I'm just going to watch college football on Saturday. I'm going to watch the NFL on Sunday. And that's it. But that's the time when your work begins.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the time when you lock in on who you are and what you want to do. Or I'm one of those dudes, I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. Right? I want to be fit. So I'm at the gym. Gerald, how do you stay fit? I get up and go to the gym.
Right. Right.
Gerald, how do you do that? I get up and do it. Well, how do discipline, self-discipline, discipline yourself, and it starts one day at a time, right? I wasn't always there. Okay?
And I think that's why, you know, we talk about mentoring young boys, and reaching back and giving back, because I think and I believe we are not just teaching. We think they should just pick it up. Well, if I can do it, you can do it. No, that's not the case. We need someone to teach them how to. And that's what you're doing with Mission Fulfilled. You're created this initiative to go and teach these kids to do. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so with Mission Fulfilled, like, our goal is, and based on my background, we're going to get kids from disadvantaged situations.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just looking to get those kids
Right.
from two-parent homes
Right.
who are going to do well anyway. We're going to get those kids who have been thrown away or cast away or don't have opportunity. And we'll handhold them if we have to. And primarily, like, we tend to target these single moms from disadvantaged situations, because it's their sons that, if we don't get a hold of them, are going to be on a path from the school to prison pipeline, and to be affiliated with gangs, and to do all of these negative things, when a lot of these kids are brilliant. Like, we have some, if you went to the prison right now, we could snatch out a bunch of brilliant
I was just gonna
black males.
I was just gonna mention, I said, we got people coming out of prison who, doesn't matter what happened before they got there, when they got there, but when they come out, is Mission Fulfilled going to be able to impact them and pull them in? Because now they're not children. They're 22, 25, 35, 45. We can still pull them into the initiative, right?
Absolutely. So what I'm trying to do right now is Mission Fulfilled, as set up today, is set up to impact boys K through 12.
Okay.
But what I'm also doing is, because of what you just stated, right? The traditionally, America doesn't create opportunities for ex-felons.
No.
Right? They don't create opportunities for them to roll into anybody's major corporation. So we have 3 levels of what we're doing with Mission Fulfilled right now. We have our kids from K through 12.
Okay.
We have our mentors, which are college level age kids through professionals. And then we have the companies who we're bringing together to help us make this impact. What I'm doing as an extension of that, I'm reaching out to all of these organizations that actually try to create programming and rehabilitation for people coming out of prison, so we can create that content, create mentors for them too, and create opportunities for them to work in these tech fields for the future. So by having this, our mentor pool that are professionals, we'll also be creating companies down the road that we can roll these brothers into. So Mission Fulfilled 2030, and 2030 is the operative word, right? In 2030, there's a vision of something that we'll get to. Like, this is funny. We look at the presidential election.
Yeah. Yeah.
Black people are ecstatic that Joe Biden will be our new president. What's going to happen for me in Mission Fulfilled tomorrow? I got to get up and work.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing. We still have to do the work.
Thank you. Hold on. Let me finish clapping. Because we got to stop waiting for this to come down and save us. And someone said this on one of my shows. We got to stop waiting for Black Superman to come down and help us. We can only do this if we do this. And doing this means putting in the work. It means getting up. It means asking for help also. It means I don't know what I need to do or can do because no one's ever helped me. God damn it. You know what? We're on social media. You and I are on social media. I'm on all these platforms, all this stuff. And if you happen to pass by someone that says, you know what? I think that black boy could probably need some help. Let me inbox somebody and say, do you ask the question? You know, can you, would it be okay? Absolutely. The answer from me always would be absolutely. What's his name? What's her name?
Right. And I do that all the time. But I think that, you know, in general, we as a people, we tend to think, you know, we there's this reparations conversation happening.
Yeah.
And yes, maybe yes.
Yeah.
We should get reparations, yes.
Okay.
But that has not happened.
No.
So we can't put a massive amount of effort into that when even if that happens, there's this time frame where it will happen. So until that happens, you have to do the work. So Mission Fulfilled 2030. In 2030, we will have 100,000 young black males in our programs in some type of tech field. I know this because every day I get up and put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. So when I look at all these black men that I encounter and I think about, you know, what's happening with these young brothers in prison, a good friend of mine, very smart brother, graduated high school with a 3.0 average. He's in prison right now. He's in prison and love him to death, but drugs was his path. He didn't see any other way.
Right.
He didn't see any other way. But the dude is brilliant.
So let's get down to how much. It's not so much because you can't put a value on life, and that's a corny metaphor, and I believe it, but people do put a value on this. How much do we need to raise to help a child finish this goal to get to that point you're talking about in Mission Fulfilled? How much per child?
So for Mission Fulfilled, if we were operating on a full budget, for Mission Fulfilled of $1 million, we could impact 10,000 boys a year, which would have us on target to have 100,000 by 2030. $1 million, which is nothing, right? Because if 10,000 people gave $100, that's $1 million.
That's $1 million.
We're going to impact 10,000 people.
Right.
If 100,000 people gave $10,
there it is.
Right, which is nothing. We can impact 10,000 boys.
Now, I want to put this question out there, and people, if you want to ask anything, please type it in the inbox, either on the YouTube channel, either on the Facebook channel, or even on the Twitter channel. I'm watching them all. I got a question for you. You can ask it, you can share it, you can like it, you can post it, but I want to see if people answer me this. Would you want 10,000 boys educated or 10,000 boys trying to stick you up?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I want you to answer with your checkbook because that's how you answer the question. Because if you just say, no, I want them educated, well then...
you have to seed.
Yeah.
You have to seed, right?
Yeah.
So again, when we think about, and I'm not, you know, this is not what I do, but I believe they said the black people in the U.S. make up, as black people as a nation within the U.S.
Right.
would still be in the top 10 GDP globally.
Yes.
So we're not poor.
No, because some of these clowns about ready to spend $320 million on Black Friday going out and buy a $5 damn toaster. So I don't even want to. The numbers are staggering about what black people will spend their money on this crap for them. Oh shoot!
But I think and even that's the that's the we're so, how can I put it? We're easily distracted.
Squirrel?
Right? We're easily distracted. Right? Yo, Mission Fulfilled is dope. He gonna raise up 10,000 black boys. Oh, it's a sale on red bottoms?
Yeah, Nike's on sale.
It's a sale on red bottoms? Yo, dog, I was gonna write you that check, dog, but yo, man, I had put 50 on the game.
And look,
I lost.
and I'm dripping.
Right, you know what I'm saying? I had to get the drip, son. So
it's sick. It's sick and sad. It's sick and sad.
But I think that, you know, what we're doing is I'm starting to get a lot of traction right now.
Okay.
Because I think people are seeing the work that we're doing. I think we're also a show me people, right?
Okay.
So
let me
if you make magic with nothing, then we can get support.
Then let me
right?
tell people. Let me tell people about show me thing. You, young man, and most of you people, this man does not talk about himself. He does a lot of things so much behind the scenes that affects human lives. You just bought 50 Chrome notebooks for students and paid for Wi-Fi for 50 students so they can get educated out of your own pocket. Now, this is something that's a show me, but no one's ever going to see that because it's not like something you're going to post out there with walking into the school like, hey, you know. But
yeah. So what's interesting about that, Dr. Dyer? So the teacher who I initially told I was going to purchase Chromebooks for her children, she reached out to the news and said, hey, this guy's going to come all the way from Virginia to Baltimore to bring us Chromebooks. And I think, why can't we, you know, sustain our own kids?
Right.
So we actually got some media on that. So from my initial gift, I was able to raise an additional $20,000 to service kids nationwide. But, you know, and I'm grateful for that. And I think at a level like when you actually have a nonprofit organization, now that I'm running a nonprofit organization.
Right.
And we have this social media platform, it gives me an opportunity to actually tell my story. And I would traditionally do stuff in anonymity. But because people actually do need to see, I'm actually more visible now. I actually get out and showcase what we're doing so that other people can say, okay, hey, here's an opportunity for me to participate in something and actually be a hero and let me service it.
Right.
I kind of consider myself a vessel. Like, I'm just a vessel. I'm not doing anything.
Right.
It's the people who allow me to do things now through the nonprofit. So us trying to get 10,000 black boys in a STEM program a year, it's going to be the people, you, who funded to allow me to create these things. So it's not me doing anything. It's going to be us as a collective that are going to make Mission Fulfilled 2030 successful. I'm not, like, I put it together, but what Mission Fulfilled will be is this collective of 10,000 black boys a year. This collective of 1,000 professionals a year that we're going to get together and help mentor and tech coach these boys. It's going to be that 100 companies that we can get to seed us a year, which has nothing to do with me. I'm just the vessel. I'm just the pass-through, right? It's really the people. So I get out there and I try and get the people to understand that it's you who make this happen. It's you by seeding the vision. And again, like, I'm transparent. I think as black people too, we're so used to somebody running off with the money. I can't give him no money. He gonna run off. He gonna run off with the money.
Like Black Santa. He took all the toys.
Exactly. I can't see giving Mission Fulfilled $1 million a year because they gonna run off with the money. But actually, we need to pay for things, right? And I need to, in order to fully fulfill the mission, I need to pay people, right? I have great volunteers right now. Super volunteers. Y'all know who y'all are. Thank you. I have a great senior advisory board. Board members, y'all out there grinding every day, making connections. Love you. Thank you. But we need the people. We need the people to seed. And even to the point where if you have a young man in our program, and a lot of our programs are free, wouldn't hurt you to donate $5. Like we actually have people, and I love these people too. But if you're gonna actually be a beneficiary of our program, you should actually seed it a little bit.
Right.
Right. And I think sometimes as Black people we think everything should be subsidized. Right. And I think we everything can't be subsidized.
I don't know how that matriculated into the fabric of communicative voices. Like, someone should help me pay for it. Someone should pay for it. I don't know, and it could come from policy. It could come from when the government started subsidizing the welfare program and things like that. I don't know, and they thought it was helpful, but okay, it helps. It does help. It can help. It has helped many, but it has hurt a lot too.
Yes.
And but we use it so much. We're like, well, is someone gonna help? I have money. I earn the money, but can you get free lunch at school? Well, let me sign that up. You know, how do you think this gets paid for? You know, where do you think this money comes from? It doesn't get pulled out of the sky. Well, someone's paying some extra money for your kid to eat lunch at school because we feel as a collective community that kids should not go hungry in school.
Right.
But you can pay for your lunch. I don't care if it's peanut butter. See, when I was growing up, we didn't have subsidy programs. So I had peanut butter and jelly and a little thing of milk. That's all I had. So in my little lunchbox and the whole bit, so if that's all you have is crackers and peanut butter, that's all you ate. You know, and that's okay. It's okay, isn't it? I hope it is okay. Because
yeah, I think even with the election, right? We're happy because when they talk about what the Biden-Harris plan is, I think in the minds of a lot of Black people, there's this big Black subsidy coming. Right? There's this big Black subsidy coming that's gonna drop on us, and we just all gonna be balling out.
Right, and it's not coming.
It's not coming.
It's not coming.
It's not coming. We gotta get out there. We gotta seed each other. We gotta invest in each other. We have to support one another. We have to, do things that are going to help us grow as a people and stop giving our money away to other races.
So here's a thing, and we're going to cut this short because there's things you got to do, and you got to get on a meeting. I know that for sure. But with this pandemic, and I don't got, and people are always asking me, and all those negative voices out there saying the words you're saying, you're already emotionally broke. And I understand that you're probably emotionally broke. And if you are, just get emotional help. Because we're not asking for your emotional money. We're asking for you to be mentally healthy so you can build a mentally healthy community so you can help the next. Because if you're mentally, emotionally broke, your $5 is not going to help us anyway. Because it's only going to come with negativity. And we don't need that.
Right.
So that's all I got to
say.
say.
All the time, Dr. Dyer. Gerald, well, you always happy, man. Why you always so happy? Why you... Every morning, 90% of mornings, I'm up, I get a workout in, I spend at least 15 minutes in meditation and solitude, gathering my own thoughts, looking into my own person. Where are you, Gerald? How are you feeling today? Right? And I do this every day. I have a book. I call it my daily goal book. I write in this book every day. In the last 10 years, I've completed about 15 of these books where I write. So I can go back and tell you what I was thinking and what was going on in 2012. Right?
Right.
So I do these things, and I've learned to do these things over time because, where I come from, I told you in a previous episode that by the time I was 18, I had known, at least 15 boys that were murdered. So, it's traumatic. And as I start thinking about that as an adult, I was like, all right, Gerald, man, you didn't just make it through this. right? You didn't. There were things that you did, and in order for you to not internalize this stuff, and as you watch things happen in your old community and within your family, you still have to be a whole person.
Yes.
So you have to go out and do some additional things to be a whole person. And I think, like you're a mental health professional and you encounter this every day, but people don't actually take the time to look within themselves, sit in solitude, and just take a deep breath and unload.
Yeah.
Unload some of this stuff. But again, Dr. Dyer, I appreciate being on your show. If you want to support Mission Fulfilled 2030, you can go to MissionFullfilled2030.org. There's a donation button. We take all types of $5. You want to donate $1, just donate or support. We're actually updating our site right now. It's awesome because we're getting a lot of people who want to volunteer. So we're updating our volunteer page so people can volunteer time and just share our content. Like, we put out a lot of content. We're going to be featuring in the new year. We got a bunch of new programs starting where I have black men teaching black boys. It's amazing. Black men, listen to the sound of this.
Yeah.
Black men
teaching black boys.
Black boys technology.
It's a unicorn. It's a unicorn.
That's dope. And we're rolling out a bunch of programs. So if you got a son, you got a cousin, you got a nephew between the ages of K through 12, like, go to Mission Fulfilled, sign up for our email list so you can find out when the next courses are launching. MissionFullfilled2030.org. I'll throw it back to you, Dr. Dyer, with that. And again, it's a pleasure being on your show. Happy Veterans Day to all our servicemen and women.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to Bridges Live. We're talking with Gerald Moore Sr., and we're talking about Mission Fulfilled 2030. We will have him back on to keep on the updates because this is not an ending conversation. This is a continuous conversation, and we hope you all join in the fight for us to be a civil humanity about educating ourselves and being prosperous all around. So thank you so much. Everyone have a blessed evening. Happy Veterans Day. God bless, Gerald.